All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need a.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Three Cocktails In. We are all checking in here tonight.
I can see myself.
Okay, that's a good start.
Progress.
Right?
Progress.
We might be 100% technology.
Oh, so you should not have said that.
You shouldn't have said it out loud.
Yeah, you and your woo-woo. It's fine.
You guys.
Everything's working and is going to continue to work. Positive.
Okay, Stacey's manifesting. We're throwing out some woo-woo.
Yeah. I just want to say that I am taking great comfort in the fact that Amy and I are not the only ones who count stairs. So whichever one of you put that poll up or posed that question, thank you, because I feel so much better about my quirkiness.
Yes.
There's like 1.5 other people?
Yeah. No, there were a lot.
No, there were only a few. There were a couple. And remember our favorite, Deanna, who was a guest, was one that says going up, but not down, she says. So yeah.
Why? But she even questioned, why?
Why? I know she questioned it too. I still do. Nobody had a real answer for why any of you count stairs.
No, there's no reason. It's
got a little Rain Man in me.
Yeah. Okay, that's the reason.
Oh man. And let's see, this episode drops. When does this episode drop, Stacey? Next week?
Oh, in a week and a half. I don't know. Like I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
last Thursday in May or in April.
Okay. So when we're recording this, we are just a few days out from Easter. And so the question today was fresh peeps, stale peeps, no peeps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There were lots of
peeps. Peeps are my thing.
I
love peeps.
But I was surprised that you like them stale, though.
I prefer them.
Yeah.
I prefer them stale, but as soon as I bring them home, I cut that bag open, and I have too. I have a little confession.
Oh,
we'll just get into a little theme. The other morning, I hardly had any food in my house, and I had a little bowl, just a little packet of oatmeal, and I threw some raisins in, tried to get something, healthy going, and I had 6 peeps left, and I ate all of them. I'm like, well, I'm ready to get up and take a shower and go to work.
I'm envisioning a bowl of cereal with peeps.
I was going to say, did you cut them up all into your cereal?
No, they were like my breakfast dessert. So I ate my oatmeal first, and then I rewarded myself with 6 yellow stale peeps. And I was like, well, at least I won't eat them tomorrow because they're all gone now.
That's a good way to look at it.
I was going to eat them sooner or later. What's the difference?
I don't know that's an odd confession. When I was eating my Girl Scout cookies, I rationalized, well, if I eat the whole row today, what's the difference? If I have the whole row today, or I have half today and half tomorrow, I'm still gonna have them.
Yeah, you're still gonna eat a whole roll.
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys, wouldn't it be nice if Thin Mints actually made you thin?
Oh, I know. That's a good idea.
Right? So blame the Girl Scouts.
But what if Peeps made you peep? So I don't think I'm buying into the food doing what its name is. I don't know. Isn't that the whole thing? Like the little chick.
Little chick. Yeah.
You couldn't call them Cheeps. That would be a really bad brand name.
But it's really kind of dumb that now the Peeps, which were a little tiny, cute little chick, are now, blue bunnies.
Oh, no. There's only yellow. only yellow bunnies or yellow peeps. I do not partake in the Halloween peeps or the green and red Christmas peeps. That's sacrilege. Yellow peeps or nothing. So.
Okay.
So that was a funny start.
Wow.
Anyway.
So clearly, for those of you listening or watching, we don't talk much during the week. So you get to see each other. It's like, we've got to get these things out.
Yes.
Well, to the task at hand. All right. We're gonna talk about something. Really, we hope that everything that we talk about here is relatable to everyone. We're going to talk a little bit today about regrets and confessions. And I came across a quote today. Shetty shared it. And the quote is, "Feeling sad after making the right decision does not mean that it wasn't the right decision." And it just, I think we all know that, but it's really good to be reminded of that, because sometimes we do feel that when we are feeling sad because of something that we did or something that we went through, we need to remind ourselves that it doesn't necessarily mean that that wasn't a good thing that made change. Yeah. And so we're going to dig in to this topic a little bit today and share some things.
I can totally relate to that quote. It was really hard getting the divorce, shaking my entire life up. And I was sad about it. I was very sad about it. But I also knew it was the right decision.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking, it's springtime, and we've had the conversation a couple of years running now about New Year's resolutions, and I'm not a New Year's resolution person, but I tend to do some serious reflection in the spring. This is when it seems like new stuff, new beginnings, green grass, getting outside, a lighter feeling, maybe planning vacations, things like that. And so this is the time of year when I do my reflection. And I find myself single again. So they're lovely people. And this one has kind of been a punch in the gut, because I did things differently this time. I'm trying. I've done more self-reflection in the last 5 years than I've done in the first 50 of my life. I just, you just go and do.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be thoughtful about decision making. I'm trying to, if you can, think about a bigger picture and not get stuck on the little things, because we all make mistakes and we hope to learn from them. But I approached this relationship completely differently than anybody I had dated thus far, that I'd met on Match, or even, don't even get me started on dating in college. There was no thought to that process. That was all, hormone and situation driven, basically. But I was really, I want to say, careful and thoughtful, and what I'd like to think of as discerning. This man was older. I mentioned that he was older. He was nearing retirement. He'd had he still is almost, he's still working, has a very great, very long-standing career with a lot of responsibility. I was, if anything, a little slow in deciding how I felt about the whole thing. But then I was like, you know what? I really enjoy being with him. I really enjoy, and I can see the track that we wanted to go on was turning out to be the same. Turns out he has some chronic health issues that he let me know about early on. And he's had some issues over maybe the last 6 weeks, and we didn't see each other very often, which is understandable, but his communication pretty much stopped. And I don't do well with no communication.
Yeah.
I loved my mom dearly, but she gave us the silent treatment if she was mad at us. It could last for more than one day, and it killed me as a kid. And I still equate no conversation as there's something wrong.
Mm.
And so, I brought it up. I said, hey, if we are going to be a couple and move forward with this, we're going to see each other in our down points. And he's like, I'm not used to that. I still want to put my best foot forward. And I'm like, but don't shut me out. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. So I thought we were over it. He had another kind of flare-up issue and called me, said I can't do this, I can't do my job, I can't be in this relationship, I can't take care of my health. And then he said, I need to tell you something and I need you to listen without interrupting me, and then you can respond. Okay, that's never a good sign in my, He said, I got a marketing email from Match on Friday and your picture was on it. So either you didn't go out, you didn't cancel your subscription like you said you did, or all my sickness has made you have second thoughts and you got back on. But that was just really hurtful. That was Friday. He waited to bring it up till Monday. And he'd already decided I lied. I had canceled my subscription. Those things are 3 month, but I had my setting private. I hadn't gotten a single message from anybody since, way back. I hadn't responded to anybody since I decided that I was going to date him. From the first date. Once we had our first date, I didn't talk to, date anybody else all the way back in December. So here I am again, in this situation where, is he really sick? Is he trying to blow me off? Did I misread signs? Am I stupid? Am I gullible? And this is just not where I thought I was going to be 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It makes you feel really shitty. It was the right decision because earlier that day, I'd kind of put out to you two that I was thinking that this might be the time, that this probably isn't going to be a good relationship. And I was even saying, I even asked you guys, is it wrong to break up with somebody because they're sick and they don't want you to be any part of their life? And you two never answered, by the way. I'm just going to call you out on that one.
Well, that's hard to answer.
It is hard to answer. And he knows there's not a right answer to that. It's all situational.
And I just feel like sometimes, were you really wanting to know our opinion, or did you just want to
get it out there?
Put it out there. Yeah.
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 I know. So Stacey asked me today, what did you ask me? Ask that question again.
Are you really, now that it's over, are you really that disappointed because you have to start all over now and it's a disappointment and that, or are you really upset because you're going to miss him specifically? Is it the feelings with him, or that it's just over and you got to start again? That was, I think, my question. And I'm sure it's some of both.
Yeah, if you would have asked me that night afterwards, I was so pissed off that he thought I lied, and he did not really give me a chance there was no discussion about it. And I even started to say something, and I could just tell from the tone, I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to argue with you about something you've already made your mind up about.
Yeah.
And then today I was really starting to feel really sad about this, really sad. Because it's like, yeah, of course I don't want to start over. But at the same time, how could I be this wrong?
I understand the question and the emotion of that, but we each are unique individuals, and he was putting forth what he wanted you to see in the first months of dating, as we do. I'm not faulting
Yes.
him for that. We all do that. You were doing the same
Oh,
thing
sure.
until you get to a comfort level, and then you kind of start opening up a little bit. And so, how long were you seeing each other?
4 months.
4 months is not a very long time.
It is in the dating world at 50 plus years old. You pretty much know way before then whether or not you're going to try and date somebody.
Long
I
term.
mean,
Yes,
Long
but
whether this person is worth the effort to continue dating. So
yes.
usually in the first couple months, you are smart enough and you've had good conversations where you know we are on track on big things.
Mm-hmm.
We're going the same direction. Yes, you're right. It's not a long time to get to really know somebody, but this is the time when you start to get to know them.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did.
And maybe that was it. Maybe that this is how he is, and that it wasn't going to be a good match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
My, we talked last time about how we love those millennials and Gen Z girls, and I was having a conversation with Georgia and kind of telling her about it. And she goes, "Mom, that really sucks. But I think he brought the match stuff up so he didn't have to feel like he was the bad guy."
Could
I went,
be.
"Oh,
Yeah. So maybe if it was that quick of a decision for him, maybe it wasn't really. And he has been thinking about it and he found a thing and that was the end. That was the way he could end it. Yeah.
maybe."
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would be kind of mad at Match.
Yeah.
I'm super pissed off.
Yeah. Now I'm assuming that when you go through the registration process and the subscription process, that you probably signed something that gave them permission to use your image in marketing, right?
Yeah.
But also explain to people if you see your profile and if someone would click on you, then what happens when
Okay. So I know this from prior times. You remember my one buddy that we went out with each other for a while, and I knew that one was not going to work because anyway. Well, he would occasionally pop up because I get the marketing emails and I don't have a current subscription. And so I clicked on him because he still had the same wrong age that he had a year ago when I had met him, which was 5 years younger than he was a year ago, so I clicked on it to see what's going on. And it said, "This profile is no longer available."
Right.
So he might not be on, but they might just be sharing his picture, which could have been very true. Mm-hmm. If he would have clicked on my picture, it would have said, "This profile is no longer available."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I don't know. My mom told me many, many billions of years ago, the grass isn't greener. And I thought that was a horrible piece of advice to give somebody who is hurting and upset. And damn if that doesn't come back. Every once in a while I go, maybe she was right. Maybe it isn't. Maybe the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Yeah. It's hard to so when she gave you that advice, I mean, we were young and there are so many things that you could not tell us when we were 20, 25, etc.
Right?
You as much as we as parents want to pass on this knowledge that we have as adults to our kids, I'm always trying to I gently try to transfer these pieces of information to Bo. And that some he takes and some he doesn't. And don't you just wish that you could package up all of the knowledge and experience that we have and just pop it right into their little brains so that they don't have to go through some of this shit that we went through. And I know that's all
Yeah.
part of life, and they have to go through the things that we went through as well. But yeah, it's
Yep.
that was good advice, but it's hard to take. It's
Yeah.
hard to be on the receiving end of that as a young person.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll just leave it there. Yeah, it is. It's hard. It's really hard. So I don't know. I might be having to look for a therapist that I don't have to counsel. If you want to refer back to the therapist that I was seeing, a while back, that she would have to take a minute and think about it and then stop crying.
Oh my.
Yeah. So
I don't mean to laugh, but that is really hilarious.
I know. Right.
Isn't that?
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
Yeah. That doesn't seem quite right.
yeah.
Oh well.
Well, sorry, Amy, but you know what? It wasn't right. Wasn't right for you. Wasn't right for him, and so you move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel sad about it.
And
For
it's
whatever even when you don't know what the real.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of where my thought process was going as I prepared for tonight as well. And so I'm gonna share something from my past that hurt for a very long time. And as I was thinking about the topic of regrets and confessions, I think I don't look at this as a regret. My confession is that I feel horrible that I hurt someone deeply many years ago. And I've rarely talked about it. But when I was 22, I married my college boyfriend. And I thought that I was doing everything right, checking the boxes, building a life. But by 28, I simply is not the right word. I walked away. I just walked away. And for a long time, I didn't talk about it. I don't talk about it very often. It rarely comes up. Not because I'm ashamed of it, but because I didn't know how to explain something so personal, so layered, and so full of both love and loss, because that's what it is. It's both. It's love and loss. And so I'm sharing that story today, not just as a confession, and not exactly as a regret either, but just as a reminder that who you are at 22 is not who you were meant to stay. And I think that's what I woke up one day and realized.
Yeah.
And sometimes choosing yourself means walking away from a life that you once thought was the life that you wanted. So the confession is, again, like I said, I hurt him deeply because it came from nowhere. And I didn't even do anything to try to repair it. I just said, this is not what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really hard age. I think that in that of that era, I didn't know anybody that really went to any counseling.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know people. I mean, nobody talked about it. Nobody shared that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You and I never even shared it.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
and that is a huge weight. That's a huge weight to carry.
Yeah. And it took a long time to forgive myself for it. And I, I remember I started dating right away, even when I didn't want to. You know, I kept saying, no, you just need to not, why do you need to be with anybody? And started dating right away. And so then that relationship was strained because I hadn't even mourned the relationship that I just walked away from. So, and I reached out to my ex-husband a few years later, and we went and had lunch or dinner or something. And I just said, I just have to say how deeply sorry I am that I hurt you. And I mean, he was so kind. And of course, you know, he just said, it's okay. It's okay. But I just said it was not okay with me. And honestly, I wish that I could apologize every year, like once a year. Can I just, here's my yearly apology because it's still heavy. It's still heavy on my heart. Not because I know it was the right decision. I am married to who I was supposed to be with. I know that. Bo is the child that I was supposed to have. I love the life that I have. So I know it was the right decision. But the heaviness is knowing that I hurt someone so much. And also, like, if we hadn't gotten married, maybe his life would have gone a different direction.
Yeah, but you, even after all these years, you can't second guess those things.
Yeah.
I don't think. You know, and again, you know, it's, how do I want to say it? It's too bad that you're still feeling that much guilt over it, honestly, or have that many feelings and think it was only you, you know, only your fault in it, which I'm sure it wasn't. You know what I mean? But that's how it goes. Everybody, you know, carries with them the same, you know, deep
Yeah.
feelings for something that important.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like you said, turns out it was the right decision. And I'm sure at that age and, you know, when that was extremely difficult. That's what no one else, you know, would understand,
Yeah.
you know, either for you. So
I remember too when I got engaged and I told my parents, and they were like, and you know, they loved him, you know, so of course, you know, what, they're not gonna say, no, you can't do this. But I know what they were thinking. You know, they're like, you're too young. But there's that thing again. They couldn't tell me that.
Nope.
Nope.
I too was engaged to a college boyfriend for a couple of years of college. And I did break that off during college. And when you come home at 20 and tell your mom and dad that you want to get married and you're a sophomore in college, yeah. Yeah. So I waited until I was 24.
yeah. Did that work any better? No.
Well, yeah, I am, you know, it's interesting because my ex and I are still friends, and we've talked about it with our girls, or I have. I don't know that he gets into these kind of conversations with them. But I do consider a 29-year marriage a success. We raised 3 really smart, great girls that are doing well in their lives. We were great parents together. We've managed the divorce very well. We've not put them in the middle, you know, and I consider that one. I consider that a success. Does anybody go into a marriage thinking they're going to get divorced? No. Nobody does.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. Okay, well, that brings me to me. Mine centers around, okay, so first, I was even younger than these two when I first got married. Not a regret. I will never say that it can't work when you get married that young, and even for all of us, could have worked out. My regrets, however, revolve more around, feeling guilty, or how that affected the kids. Honestly, I was honestly just trying to get through it on myself for myself. Sounds maybe really selfish, and less worried about them at the time, if that makes sense.
How old were they?
Well, let's see. Mallory was I think she was even out of college. Trenton was just starting college. He was like end of high school, and Madison was 8. So,
Okay.
All different. But I would say a lot of that, and I could list off a lot of things, not just even because of the divorce, but at different times when I feel like I didn't pay as much attention to them, or you know what I mean, communicate as well as I could have with them. There's a lot of things within just raising them that I just, in my head, just like Kitty says, after years and years when it was even right, still say, gosh, that might not have been the best choice or the best decision, or you know what I mean. Does that make any sense? Just based on raising them, just general stuff, where a lot of the time, um, not from a selfish point at all, but more focused on what I was trying to do, even career wise or jobs, spend too much time at work and not enough at home. We've talked about that whole work life balance type of thing. That's where my regrets center is, and they all 3 turned out fabulous. So I don't think I totally wrecked them. Right. But that's probably where my biggest regrets lie. And I wouldn't say, that's a huge confession. I'm assuming everybody kind of feels that way for,
Yeah.
as they're raising their kids. But
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Well, I mean, it kind of falls into that category of the fact that when we get married, when we have kids, if there's a divorce, there's no manual for this stuff. Like, how do we know? How do we know what to do or what's best to do? You just do what you need to do to survive, and you just do what feels right for you. So, have you ever talked to your kids about it? Like, why do you think that you have that regret? Because, like you said, and your kids are great, just like Amy's kids. They're grown. They're all married. They're having families of their own. They're all employed. They're good, productive.
Right. Yeah. Well, in spite of me, probably, they'll say. No, we have never all sat down or even, whatever, on how they've, felt now at this point, based on it being quite a few years ago. No, we've never sat down.
I had a conversation with one of my daughters a couple years ago where I apologized. I didn't feel that I understood what she was going through. I didn't know how to parent what she was experiencing, and I am a glass half full, and so I did all the the stupid things that don't get to the heart of what the child's issue was. And I got, and of course she'd be like, no, you were fine, you were a great mom. And I'm like, no, I didn't do a good job for you. I could have done better. And I felt really bad.
Sure.
Now that I'm older and I have spent some time, learning and thinking. I mean, the only parenting book we had was What to Expect When You Were Expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, self-help wasn't an issue. It wasn't a section. I got a couple books for various specific things, but there's no manual. There's no manual, and you have 3 kids, and they're nature versus nurture. They all grew up in the same household, completely different kids. But I think that having the conversation to just say, I think that it's good.
Right.
I don't know.
And that's a piece of what I'm saying is back at that time, we didn't have a conversation. It was just going to happen, and here's what we're all doing, and
Oh yeah.
There was no suggestion even of, well, do you think you need to talk to a counselor or someone? That wasn't a thought. It's just, here's how it's going to be and move on. You know what I mean? Which, I'm sure is absolutely positive that's not how it should have happened and should have gone. But so, like I said, that's the regrettable part. But
well, it's good to talk about these things, and it's nice to have people in your lives that you can talk about them. Because it does feel, you can alleviate some weight that you might be carrying around. And
well, just to know, yes, we all know we're not the only ones that feel this stuff. But if nobody ever talks about it, you just sit with it.
Right.
Got to get the negative out to make room for the positive.
Yes. Yep.
I'm not saying that our exes or these feelings are negatives, but I think all 3 of us have worked hard to try and address it. Recognize what it is, think about it, process it, see what we can do to be better people.
Yeah.
To make amends if amends are necessary. And set ourselves up for greater success.
Yeah. Yep. This is our evolution as people.
Yeah. Right. And sorry, younger people, if you're listening, there's still shit to go through when you get to be old.
Yeah. Well, and if
seasoned,
right. If anything, it at least shows them that, whatever they're going through, we've all either been through it or know someone who has, and it wouldn't, whatever they're feeling or whatever's going on wouldn't be unusual for sure.
Yeah.
Especially, through marriage and having kids and raising kids everybody goes through the same thing. So,
yeah.
All right.
I know. That was a heavy one.
This was a little more heavy than normal.
I do feel a little better.
Good.
Feel better.
Yeah. So what's your, I know it's been too soon, but are you going to turn your match right back on and start that process all over?
Maybe go try a different one.
Or I have to make a whole new profile? That sounds really hard.
Okay.
Are you going to let you two make my profile?
No.
Well,
we could, but you wouldn't leave it that way, and you'd change it all. And
have you watched any of Farmer Needs a Wife?
Okay, first of all, if I could reach through the screen and smack you upside the head, I would.
No, it's good. These guys are hot.
I don't want to move to the suburbs, let alone a farm.
I think you would if you saw the farmer.
Yeah.
Oh, my heavens.
Yeah.
Farmers only.
Yeah, I think you would get plenty of suitors if you changed your pictures, to all be holding a fish and,
No,
like they
I
do.
don't have a single photo with me and a fish, and I already get fishermen reaching out. That is not what I want. I need to get some freaking, no, because I don't want to golf. I was going to say I need to pose with like a golf club or a tennis racket, a pickleball, but I don't do any of those things. I have to be true and authentic to myself.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
And no, not yet. I am not ready to.
Just like they are. Is that how you're? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know.
I know. I wish I could. We wish we could help you out with that, but
Yeah, you're too young for the Golden Bachelorette. I'm just
Oh,
gonna say
bless your heart.
you're too
Thank
young.
you.
Yeah.
and it would be the same thing. What do you want to? That's why I think the Golden Bachelor whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think that's a good way to do it. No.
I don't know. Yeah. So, hey, if you're listening, you got somebody that sounds like me. not exactly like me, but
Send a message through our Facebook page and
feel free to share a picture. And I don't know, at this point, I want a P&L statement.
Well, that's. I think that's okay.
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys.
Oh,
Am I going to give love another shot?
There's a cliffhanger.
Transition.
Yeah, right.
I have no shots tonight. I'm going to tell you, there is no shot in hell that is happening tonight. So, do you guys have any shots?
Well, I do, but I left the visual aid upstairs.
Oh,
no.
Man.
So are you going to describe it, or do you want to wait and show us?
I'm gonna wait until I have the visual aid. Yeah.
Okay, bummer. Yeah.
But it'll be perfect for spring. So even next week it'll be good.
Good.
And fun. So
yeah, I was last week and the week before when I haven't had any shots. I keep saying this week I'm going to have a shot, and I don't really have a shot.
That's okay.
It's Easter coming up. Well, by the time this is aired, it will be after. But I did put my cheesy potato recipe out in the interwebs,
Perfect.
which is one that a lot of people make. Gosh. A shot otherwise. Yeah, I've got
I think that's a great thing to share because that's always a favorite at Easter.
Yeah.
So that will be on our.
What is everyone doing for Easter?
I'm working.
You have to work on Easter Sunday?
Yeah, we would because lots of people come in and buy homes on Easter Sunday.
I don't think they do. Are you being facetious?
I think so. Nobody is going to come in on Easter Sunday. Give me their number.
Hear it? I don't even have kids. There are people, not happy and they got kids.
Yeah, that's right.
That's interesting.
But the rationale is we don't open until noon. So you can still go to church and have Easter brunch.
Oh, and get to work at noon. So you don't really get to do much other than maybe go to church.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'll be working. Probably eating a ham sandwich.
Amy,
maybe a potato chip.
Here's what we should do. We should have Easter breakfast. You come and then go to work.
There you go. Kitty just invited you to brunch.
I could probably do that.
No pressure putting out an invitation on
for good food.
Yeah, if anybody needs a place to go, Kitty, go ahead.
We've got room.
We'll talk. Yes, that's very kind of you.
Oh, that is good. Yeah, I'm having the whole family at my house on Saturday.
So how many people?
Oh, I haven't counted lately. With 2 babies, I think we're up to 16. I don't know. I've lost track.
Fun.
Something like that.
Nice.
with girlfriends and babies. So yeah,
Good. That'll be fun.
I know.
Cute.
All right. Well, shall we sign off?
I think
We
we
shall.
should. Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for a lovely conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to the listeners and viewers. Thank you for hanging in with us. We are now, what would this be, 77?
77.
77 episodes.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
We talked about this last time. We haven't really put this much effort into anything else we've done.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
All
Good.
right.
Okay. We'll see you guys
Peace
next
out,
week.
my friends.
Bye. Peace.
Bye.
Cheers. Cheers.
All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need an invitation. I'm about to start a celebration. Let me in. Brought a good time plus some friends. Turn it up loud past 10.